life. I'm making the commitment to myself every day when I'm out to go live and just just engage and do some content. New Year's kind of a New Year's resolution, so to speak. So we are live, man. What to talk about today? Because I got a lot of questions about a lot of different things going on in the MCU. Um, but today I want to put out some information kind of in tune. This kind of snowballed and started because of the whole Blade thing. So I want to. Um, that's my car sliding on the ice. If anybody's wondering. Um, Jeez, I want to put out a question to anyone who may see this video to ask if they know exactly why Nate Moore resigned from Marvel Studios. They mutually parted ways. I was thinking about the Blade thing, and going through my head. I started going through different, started remembering the history of Marvel Studios, and I'm thinking to myself, how could this happen? How could Blade not get made with Mahershala Ali? Now, I do know from following the Blade situation with Mahershala that there was a lot of different scripts, there was different directors, there was different places necessarily where they wanted to go. But they should have been able, like, they made it so much harder than it needed to be. Like, it's just Blade killing vampires. You're telling a vampire story, so to speak. They do. What was it really? What's really the culprit for the reason why Marvel Studios is not making a Blade movie? That's really where I'm at with it. And honestly, I think it's deeper than most people realize, but there are some of us who see it because we see it all the time. It's one of those things once you experience and see certain things, you can't unsee it. So you can see the patterns, but then there's some people who kind of walk around and don't want to know, not necessarily, not unless it smacks them across the face, and then they're kind of woken up to it. But there's a lot of people who, they think, oh, he couldn't quick. I can write a Blade script. Here's the Blade. Like even the original creator of Blade, who did the first trilogy, he reached out to Marvel and was just like, man, like, what are y'all struggling with? Like, I will write the script. I have ideas. We can do another one. Like, we can do this. I don't think it was that. I have noticed that in turn, as far as with Kevin Feige, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this, when it comes to the black characters in the MCU, he always defaulted them over to Nate Moore, pushed them off to Nate Moore. And if anybody can think of anything different, like any black character that Nate Moore wasn't a part of as a producer, because they hide it all. It's just like, you see every movie and it's like executive produced by, they have a team. So he's picking who does which film and which producers are on which film. And, it's all divvied up. But anytime there was a black character, Nate Moore had to do it. So a part of me seeing, okay, like you got to look at this. Look at the rollouts. That's the sign. I mean, we just got Blade canceled. Armor Wars canceled. Ironheart rushed and discarded. Wonder Man, soon to be rushed and discarded. They did the same thing with Echo. Okay. Um, and I kind of feel like this is what they're gonna do to Ryan Coogler. This is kind of what they're doing to Ryan Coogler because I kind of feel like the Ironheart relation. Oh, lost me there. I kind of feel like the Ironheart relation to Wakanda is only because Kevin Feige pushed off Ironheart on Ryan Coogler. It's a bad choice to push Ironheart off on Ryan Coogler, or if Ryan Coogler wanted Ironheart. But it's a pattern, and you can see the pattern if you're actually watching it and looking at it with open eyes. You can see the pattern. Um, I feel the reason why Blade and Armor Wars specifically have been canceled is because Nate Moore left, and that's for whatever reason. Nate Moore, and not that he makes the best decisions either. It's just like there's a team of people, and there's so much talent in Hollywood. Like, I hate that Hollywood, when it comes to being a minority, it always gets. It's only like there can only be one it person at a time or something, And then, when Simu Leo comes out and says Hollywood is racist, I got pushback on YouTube and Twitter, just just backing him up, just saying no, because he sees it firsthand. A lot of people, you know how people are. But the thing about it is that you don't understand is just like everybody's like, oh well, he should just be happy like he's getting a leading role and da 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 da. There's not many. I ask you this to the audience: how many lead roles have you seen an Asian man in, or Asian American, or someone of Asian descent? How many lead roles do you even see them in that they don't make? And so I'm not talking about like the Korea stuff. How many leading roles do you see them in just like a regular movie? And if you do see them in that leading role, are they not doing martial arts? Like all Asian people know martial arts. You see what I'm saying? Like that in itself is racist. That's what I'm saying. So it's the same thing with Black Panther and with how they're doing the black characters. Now, what comes to mind to me is how they did Captain America, this latest Captain America. He did give that. I want to say Nate Moore. I can't. I think Nate Moore did that one as well before he left. That was like the last thing he was working on. That was maybe the one that broke the camel's back. But if I know that he hired one of the writers or one of the show, it was either the show. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the showrunner. The showrunner was Coker, but it was the writer of Luke Cage from the Marvel TV show Luke Cage. He was the one that originally penned the script for Captain America, um, brand new, brand new world, um, Brave New World. He's the one that wrote the script for it, and it's like I understand, like you don't get a Black Panther. It's just when it comes to culture and different subcultures, you got to have somebody in the room. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel like that's where She-Hulk maybe kind of faltered because it just didn't really have an identity. I think that they were struggling to kind of find an identity with She-Hulk to fit in the groove. Like I'll say you can say what you want about Ironheart, but I understood who the message was for, where they were, who the target audience was for that show. I kind of feel like they shackled that show and held them back from really telling what could have been a great story. And I kind of feel like they did the same with Ms. Marvel too. There's limitations, and that comes with studio interference, and you can't use this character, you can't use that character, or you can't tell this story, that story. That happens. But with those shows, that's what they suffer from. So maybe them saying they want to separate Marvel TV and Marvel movies, maybe that's for the best so that they can, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was limited like that as well, even though I think they did a really good job the first two seasons with intertwining going on with the movies. I just wish they had a better budget so they could do a better job of showing that the worlds were the same, because to be honest, you know, the budget kind of hurt. So it's just like when Captain America Winter Soldiers happened and you got the whole Hydra thing going, they're telling a parallel story on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about the Hydra agents within within Shield, and they looked like they was in two totally different like world. Like it didn't even look like it wasn't even the same thing. So it would have been cooler if they could have maybe used some of the same sets and stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah. Getting back to my point, because I'm kind of rambling now. Getting back to my point, there's a lot of talent in Hollywood of all different backgrounds. And it's just like, yes, you got to have somebody in the room that should specialize in how to convey those stories and tell those stories. But to just keep throwing it all on one person, yeah, I think that's probably why. And this is speculation, but that's probably why Nate Moore resigned. So he wanted to go and do his own thing and tell other stories. He didn't want to just keep getting thrown the black character of the week so that they can underfund it and do a poor budget and rush it out and just dump it all on Disney Plus or what have you. Um, a lot of people are like, well, how do you come to that conclusion? If you go back to the stories about Mahershala Ali's issue with the studio when they were actually developing it and trying to do it, it sounds like they were trying to get him to do some bullshit. And he stood on his business and was just like, nah, you're not gonna do that to me. A lot of people are so happy just to be in the Marvel universe, they'll just say yes. And that's how they want. And as an aspiring actor myself, that's how the industry wants you. That's how they breed you to be. They want you thirsty. They want you hungry so they can give you bullshit and you say yes to it because you're desperate, because you need the money, because you need